And Kira, without your help and ingenuity, none of this would have been possible. Perhaps we've found another sage, now that Gaul and Maya are lost.
Yes, Gaul and Maya. The Dark Eco probably destroyed them. Probably.
So I was thinking of a new Jak and Daxter story. Of course, I know that Jak and Daxter already has a sequel, but as you know, Jak and Daxter always felt like it hinted towards more. The Red Sage said Kira could be a potential sage. Samos said Gaul and Maya could return. There were a lot of openings Naughty Dog never chased after. Now, of course, I'm not too familiar with the realm of fanfiction, but I never fully felt that Jak II fulfilled those needs. It told a completely different story to the Precursor Legacy, and we never got answers to whether Gaul and Maya would return. If you're not going to follow up on it, why leave it in the game? It's as if they were planning something and completely decided to scrap it in favor for Jak II. Now don't get me wrong, Jak II had an interesting atmosphere with a story about challenging the establishment, but I felt like this was not a direction the original Jak and Daxter would go in. This is my version of how Jak and Daxter 2 would be like. There's nothing too legitimate. Jak 2 is of course the canon one, but I didn't feel like it had to go in a drastic direction. So the game would open with the initial 100% ending, in which there is a shining yellow blast of light. Samos and Kira and Jak and Daxter pull out the machine only to find that there is a being sleeping inside a crystallized form. Suddenly, the crystal shatters. A woman emerges. I would say that I imagine she looks something like Kaida from Atlantis.
My sister has failed. It's now my duty to flood the world with Dark Eco.
She seethes. There is a struggle, but the sages ward her off. Not until there is a dent in the silos. "Great Yakao!" Samos cried. "Dark Eco is flooding into the world!" It was almost as if Gaul and Maya had succeeded. "It appears as if there's more than meets the eye," Kira said. She turns to Jak and Daxter. "I think I may know something about her." Kira then tries to explain about Myra, the sister of Gaul and Maya. This is very retconny, admittedly, but I felt like it was necessary since Gaul and Maya were taken out of submission. There needed to be a third character to serve as the antagonist for the sequel, kind of like a deuteragonist. "Can't let the silos be emptied. We have to make more white eco to cleanse the world," Kira said. "And just how are we supposed to do that?" asks Daxter. "This machine can fire eco blasts meant to destroy the silos," Kira says. "Perhaps there is a way that the eco beams can repair them. I think I can be able to build the devices that will be able to reverse the polarization of the machine. In order to do that, Let me guess," Daxter chimed in. "Bring more power cells." So our heroes go on another fetch quest. But Jak and Daxter 2 would have more than simply collectibles like the first game. I used a mentality, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of mindset. Clearly there wasn't anything wrong with collecting power cells in the first game, but there could have been more to deviate from the core gameplay. I think the game would have more levels. Every time you moved to the different hub areas of the Precursor Legacy, the amount of levels decreased, such as Molten Crater only having Snowy Mountain and Spider Caves. Based off of the fact there was no Yellow Sage's hut, I could only guess that the original Jak and Daxter had some cut content. So instead of starting over completely from scratch, I thought this sequel was a good opportunity to add in this cut content. It's kind of like how a lot of people want a remake of Crash Twinsanity to add in all the cut content. This could be a similar idea, except it is through a sequel. To create diversity in Jak and Daxter 2, the different stages you return to will give you different abilities. These abilities will be expansions on the different eco power-ups seen in the first game. So Blue Eco will allow you to open even metal crates in the level. Different items will be situational depending on the circumstances of the game. Maybe there would be a gadget that allows you to collect eco. The gadgets would be used to synthesize more eco, akin to the dark and light you saw in Jak 2 and 3. Eco can be preserved for uses later down the line. You can even merge eco to create different types of eco. This would give different abilities like healing certain areas infected with dark eco. It would kind of be like the dark eco plants from the Precursor Basin, except they would be blocking a path for you to go. All of this would help deviate Jak and Daxter away from being plainly a collectathon platformer in the purest sense. In the first game, there were the zoomer stages and the flat, which served as a way to separate from the main game, but they weren't quite enough, so I felt like the sequel could have done more. As Jak collects more and more power cells, each of the stages inform him of what could lie ahead. Initially, the game starts out with all the pretty colors and environments that you saw in the Precursor Legacy. However, as you progress through the levels, there will be different signs that will come up of the progression of the Dark Eco spread. It will be a lot like Infamous 2, where you see a pop-up of how close the beast is to New Marais. The levels will reflect the coming Dark Eco flood that is about to happen, as well as what the sages say to you when you first arrive at their huts. It will start out with the Yellow Sage's hut with some positivity. Great job, Jak. It looks like you have enough time before the Dark Eco starts to enclose upon the world, the Yellow Sage says. The Yellow Sage's lab is overlooking a cliff in the lava crater. It would feel like the Blue Sage's lab, except most of the vegetation there would be reflecting hues of light to reflect the brightness of the Yellow Eco production. Next, you will move on to the Red Sage's lab. Here you will see the true spread of the Dark Eco. The lava will have become a deep hue of purple. The wheels of the mine carts will have rusted from running over the Dark Eco on the rails. Jak, it appears as if you are slowly running out of time, the Red Sage says. By this time, you will see more of the effects of the Dark Eco affecting the environment, like the lava turning a hue of purple. Jak, this doesn't look too good. The Dark Eco is really spreading, Blue Sage says. There's Dark Eco within the pools of water, as if this is Twin Sanity Island. Finally, you reach the Green Sage, and everything has literally turned away from the beautiful scenic environments you once saw in the Precursor Legacy. Everything is dark and grimy, unlike most of the environments, such as Sentinel Beach and Forbidden Jungle. Finally, you encounter Kira. It is the end of the world. Jak, She paused before pecking Jak on the cheek. Just in case I never see you again. Jak smiled. He wanted to tell her this is what he had been waiting for all this time, but instead he jumped through the portal, ready to face his adversary.
Jak and Daxter,
Midas said as the heroes approached her. She was cloaked in the darkest of veils.
you may have made it here, but Gol and Maya are resurrected.
Yes, sister, thank you, Gol said. Even if we fail, we will surely cook up another plan. Now, I would like to make this a 3-part boss fight between Gol, Maya, and Maida. And instead of fighting them in a Precursor robot, you would fight them separately, which is kind of what I felt like the original Jak and Daxter should have done. And Gol, Maya, and Maida would be using their Dark Eco powers against Jak. In the meantime, each of the different ecos will be generated from different sages in order to assist Jak in the final battle. After the fight, Jak is considered to be a brand new sage. You know, Samos, Jak really does have what it takes to channel Eco, the blue sage says. The screen fades to black as Samos looks at Jak curiously. I know maybe this is a terrible recreation of Jak and Daxter 2. Probably this is not what Naughty Dog would have come up with. However, I do feel that Jak 2 was such a departure from what made the Precursor Legacy that it felt awkward with how it presented things. There does seem to be a general perception of the Jak and Daxter series that their ideas were all over the place, to the point that the series didn't have any focus. That's not to say that the Jak games were not successful. I just wondered what it would be like in an alternate universe where the Jak games had some consistency. What would it be like if Naughty Dog continued off where Jak and Daxter Precursor Legacy seemingly left off on? Maybe this was completely pointless. Some of you are probably hating on me. Let me know in the comments below what you like or don't like about this pitch, and I'll see you next time.